Hi, it's Rich Tarani. Thanks for watching TMC Net's Editor's Day, Santa Clara 2015. On our program is Greg Gum with Titan Photonics. Greg, welcome to the show. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Thrilled to have you. So when I think of your organization, I think of optical network subsystems, and I was hoping you could expound on that a little bit and tell the viewers how you envision your company. Envision it.
Sure. Titan's been around since about 2001, and we basically are defining a new category of optics called software-defined optics. And so what is software-defined optics, you may ask? Well, approximately there's 20 million of these little pluggables that are shipped worldwide to interconnect the fiber to different types of switches and routers to give you internet connectivity. And so what we have found is that with the new advent of software-defined networking, we can now place intelligent software inside of these little guys and allow more feature functionality to do other things like monitoring, like optimization for video, and even multi-vendor interoperability, so you don't have to have as many of these things as you would in the proprietary world.
Fantastic. So competitively, how would a company achieve similar results, or could they?
I think the current state of the state, or status quo, is that you typically buy Cisco optics for Cisco, Juniper optics for Juniper, Brocade, et cetera, and lo and behold, most of our carrier customers and our data center customers would tell us, wow, we've got this litany of thousands of these little pluggables, each for their own device. So that's kind of the status quo today. So what we've been able to do now with our new product is we have integrated software on here that's smart or intelligent and allows you to plug it into like a Cisco, work across the Cisco platform, but also the same one will work in a Juniper or with several other machines. So the sum of it is that allows them to save inventory costs because they can carry fewer transceivers. Second, it's easy for technicians to install, so they don't have to think about it. They just plug it in, set it, and forget it, right? And then lastly, they have immense CapEx savings because typically we're 40 to 50% less than the typical name-branded optic because we can put it on anyone's optic.
It's very exciting. Well, I mean, the potential is huge, right? Because you can connect it to any optics that are out there.
Correct, and when they're shipping 20 million a year, that gives us a pretty fertile playing field to work from.
Absolutely. So really the theoretical competitors they're almost, they're complementary solutions, aren't they? Right? So, they're companies that you would imagine might compete with you, could play with you in terms of reselling or something like that.
Sure, there could be, you could sell to actual equipment manufacturers, but what we found is that the people that actually really value the proposition or the differentiation are the actual operators themselves. So several of our customers are very large MSOs within the U.S., such as a Comcast or Cablevision, for example, or wireline providers like Verizon or AT&T, for example, or data centers, because data centers are growing, very quickly, and folks like LinkedIn, Google, and others will have data centers also need to have these fiber optic connections. So actually we found that by selling direct to those operators, they seem to get the most benefit because they're deploying probably the lion's share of these pluggable ports.
Fantastic. So if you look at trends in the market, what are you seeing in terms of just optics in general?
I think optics in general is, almost is ahead of its time in some ways, and in some ways a fairly stable commoditized market. So if you think about it, we've gone from 1G, 10G, suddenly it's 40G, now it's 100G, now we're talking about 400G and terabyte, right? So while optics has started to follow that path and is already, we're already shipping 100G parts, for example, at Titan, the market itself, if you think about it, has been fairly stable because we've been selling optics for the last 10, 15, 20 years. Right, so in some ways, the status quo market is fairly stabilized and commoditized. But with the advent of software, which is the whole theory of software-defined networking, you can actually cut a lot of your operational costs and save money because now you can place that software, intelligent software, onto very low-cost commoditized hardware, which is a great benefit for end users as well as operators.
That's great. What's next? What can we expect?
Great question. I think the next step is to say, wow, we've been successful putting in these types of compatibilities and smart software. I think the next step is to say, maybe we should step it up a layer or two and actually start to do things like optimization. For example, 80% of the traffic today on the internet is video. So whether you've downloaded video on your phone, you watch the latest football game, whatever, over-the-top movies, Netflix, etc. Video is a large component of the internet traffic. So if we can add optimization functionality in addition to the intelligent software we have on there now, we can create even a more efficient, better throughput, better bandwidth, particularly for low latency dependent interactions like video or video conferencing or even very large bulk data transfers.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for being here today. This was great.
Thank you. Good to see you again.